Hey everyone, yes, I'm finally doing it. I'm ripping the Band-Aid off. As much as I dislike the episode, I have to review Space Baby, season 1, episode 1 of Doctor Who on Disney Plus, because it just keeps coming up. I don't like doing negative reviews since I see no point in wasting my time or yours if there's nothing constructive to say about an episode or film that I don't like. However, the fact that Space Babies keeps coming up when I'm watching new episodes of Doctor Who means that there is actually something constructive to say about this episode, because it's becoming apparent that all of this season's episodes are actually in dialogue together. And like the doctor said in episode 2, there's always a twist, which I figured out and I will get to later. Also, there will be spoilers in this video, so just be prepared. While you're here, please give this review a thumbs up, even if you didn't like the episode. I would be so grateful. And subscribe for more videos so that we can keep the chat about Doctor Who going. All right, so Space Babies. It's just not the worst idea ever, because the idea of the aging mind stuck in a fixed body is an old science fiction trope. We mostly see it in vampire child fiction, like the movie Abigail, or in AI stories that have an adult-like intelligence inhabiting a childlike body, like in the movie Megan, or even in past Doctor Who episodes featuring the face of Bo, which inhabits don't want to give away a spoiler, strangely shaped body, let's just say. So yeah, it can work, and Doctor Who knows how to make it work if it's done right. And it just wasn't done right in this episode. The gist of the story is that the Doctor and Ruby land on this old space station, which is inhabited by a scary monster that lives below decks, kind of like a monster under the bed, which taps into the fairy tale and folk tale themes. And the Doctor and Ruby are terrified, and they run, eventually finding their way to the upper levels where a bunch of non-aging babies live on their own with the assistance of their nanny. The idea of being trapped inside of a baby's body is terrifying to me. I just don't like it. It's really, don't like it. However, this episode's logic is like Swiss cheese riddled with holes. And since it's now several weeks old, I'm going to get into some spoilers. Okay, so the biggest plot hole is that the baby's brains were able to age in their bodies, but their bodies couldn't grow larger as they aged. This tells me that they should have at least been able to improve their motor skills over the years, since motor skills are as much a mental thing as a physical thing, so that they weren't forced to sit in the high chairs and in those little rolly things that parents put babies in so they can scoot about. The baby's bodies should also have been able to gain some muscle and increase dexterity, but they didn't. And that part just felt wrong to me, since the kids trapped in their baby bodies were the basis of the episode. And the science side of it just doesn't feel like it panned out. And that's a problem. It undermined the entire story. And let's face it, first episodes are always rough, since writers, directors, and actors haven't yet gelled. So they are almost always the worst episode of any series. So when the entire episode is overly campy and ridiculously silly, like Space Babies, there's no way that any adult actor can pull off that script without looking like a B-level actor at best. It was not well written enough to give Ncuti Gatwa or Millie Gibson enough to work with in the episode that would ground their characters or make new viewers kind of understand who they are, take them seriously. It felt like an episode of Barney and Friends in space, but without the dinosaur. I mean, it would have been better with the purple dinosaur. Anyone who watches this episode thinking that they'd like to try out this new Doctor Who series is not going to get a real sense of what the series has to offer. Most new viewers and returning viewers will probably not make it through the first episode and probably won't come back for other episodes either, because they will be basing their entire experience for the season on this one episode. That is so unfortunate, since the later episodes really are fantastic. I should also note that the Devil's Cord episode 2 is fun and I did enjoy it, but neither of the first 2 episodes comes close to the quality of episodes 3 and 4. And I think some people didn't like the campiness of episode 2 either. And so that just kind of solidified the feeling that Doctor Who is just corny and campy and not for adults. I mean, I guess that's what some people took away from it. So why? Why did I decide to review this episode, since it's one that I didn't like and I don't want to waste my time on it? Easy, because they drop a ton of clues that they use to establish the key themes that carry through the rest of the season. I still don't think you have to watch Space Babies to enjoy the rest of the season, but it's the start of Ruby's story arc, in which she is hoping to find her mother who abandoned her, which ties to the theme of the humans who ran away from the space station, leaving the babies behind. We also get a look into the Doctor's own sadness at being abandoned, being the last of his kind, and being adopted. These themes are all established in episode 1, and they will carry through the rest of the season arc. The other theme that actually is really strong in Space Babies is the powerful, cruel, and thoughtless maneuvering of corporations that simply make decisions for the good of the company and then abandon projects once they get too costly, with no concern for the human collateral that they leave in their wake, even when the human collateral comes in the form of babies left alive and alone on a space station to die. We get similarly stark sentiments from Boom, episode 3, and the corporate war machine that is after money generated from war as a form of entertainment, as long as the casualties and the costs are within budget. In 73 Yards, episode 4, we see the impact of a charismatic leader who is bent on establishing his country's power on the global stage. And I would even say that The Devil's Cord, episode 2, takes a swipe at the music industry by pumping out truly horrendous and talentless music just to make a buck. So far, the season really has a strong anti-corporate strain to it that encourages people to think for themselves, to create better art, and to not let a corporation's desire for money triumph over our humanity. And the final thread established in this episode is a twist. It gets called out in episode 2, when the Doctor tells Ruby that there is always a twist. It was such an obvious clue that I kept thinking about it. I kept looking for the twist in every episode and not finding it, until I realized that Ruby's neighbor is in every episode. So she must be the twist somehow. So I looked her up on IMDb, and the actress's name is actually Susan Twist. So keep your eyes on that one, because she clearly has a part to play in the larger story this season. That's your twist. Space Babies is not my favorite episode. It's overly campy, there's a big plot hole, and it's underdeveloped. All of which are big problems, since this is the introductory episode for a whole new audience. As a result, it fails at its most important job of setting up the series for a brand new season on Disney+. So, did you watch Space Babies? What did you think? Were there things that you liked about it? Things you hated? This is a great place to drop comments and vent and share. And honestly, am I being too harsh? Maybe, maybe not. I'm just not a Space Babies person, because it doesn't represent the overall quality of the series. But I promise you, the new Doctor Who series is worth watching. Okay, that's all I have for this episode. It turned out to be more than I thought, so there is that. Please give this episode a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos, because there are more coming. All right, in the meantime, happy viewing, everybody, and I will see you again soon. Bye.